Hey, it's your poker guy, and I am back with another episode, but with someone very special and someone who's got a very, at least on the show, अभी यहाँ मुझे नहीं लग रहा है, but show पे मुझे काफी dangerous aura लगी तो थी. So I was like, ये बंदा मुझे कभी भी eliminate इधर भी कर सकता है. So super happy to have Harman joining on this podcast. Thank you so much, Harman, for taking time out. And it was great to see you. And surprisingly you were not the softy that Rannvijay was, so मतलब वो aura भी आपका काफी सही था. Thank you so much for joining, man.
Thank you, man. I think the fact that you're on time made everything okay. As you can see, I'm a stickler for time and punctuality, as you can see on the show. So as long as we started on time, it's all good. I'm kidding, yeah. I think for me also, it's just taking on the mantle and the responsibility of a host comes with a lot of you have to take in consideration that the people who are working behind the camera, you are a representative of them.
Right.
Often we think that a host is only there to focus on the contestants and the audience, but I am a guy who has worked all his life behind the camera. And now, for the last 5, 6 years, I've been in front of the camera. So for me, if the crew was getting angsty and they were feeling like the contestants are getting delayed, so it's my job to convey that message to the contestants in the best way possible. Hence the slightly aggressive tone in the beginning. But as you
Yeah,
can
I
see,
mean, Pooja should have a problem, not me. नहीं सही है यार, it was pretty cool. But anyway, it's really cool, guys. You and the entire Poker High team and at Playerhunt, like the concept, because we're in a stage in poker where somewhere beyond the taboo for the people who know it, but somewhere taboo bhi hai. Audience bhi is not that big compared to like other games. So sports and what we are doing with Playerhunt and what you guys are doing is pretty fantastic. So I think kudos to the concept only, yaar. Like वो बहुत सही चीज थी.
kudos to the team at Poker High, Gaurav, Nitin, and of course our director Pranav. It takes a lot to do something new, man.
Yeah,
And we are a little bit a group of radicals, I would like to say that, because it would be the easiest thing for them to do a regular poker tournament. It would be the easiest thing for Rannvijay and me to continue doing our day-to-day shows. But for all of us to come together and try something so different, and I just don't say it because that's the right thing to say. It is really different. There is no
absolutely
poker reality show in
correct.
our country or probably even around the world, man.
Yeah, actually, I always thought our country, and now when you put it around the world, yeah, even it just makes even more sense. ऐसा कभी है नहीं. Fair enough. Okay, before we move forward, let's get into the. So what I want to do is I want to discuss about the player hunt and the details around that. Then we move on to you and a little bit about you and generally, and then about reality shows. Okay, so let's take it that way.
Yeah.
वो प्लेयर हंट पे आते हैं पहले. How was your bond with the people there? Like the show seemed a lot of like it seemed good fun and एक ऐसा vibe था. It was pretty chill vibe also. So कैसा था and why does someone want to be on season 3? Because like how was the vibe? Like if you can describe that, कैसा था?
So, first of all, I said this yesterday also. We were doing event. The fact is that everybody who came on the show, be it in front of the camera or behind the camera, had a common goal that we're trying to promote the sport, right? From that intent, if you start, then sari gussa, ya, anger, all of those things get negated because the intent was very clear. We know the fact that if you come on this show,
Correct.
you get a few eyeballs in life. It'll only help you as a poker player, right? Otherwise, we could all have done what we keep doing. The fact that we're coming together, especially from a contestant's point of view, is to increase the exposure for the players. We all know the top 5, 10 poker players who represent our country at the highest level, the ones who always win.
Oh,
But do we know the normal, regular, day-to-day poker players, right? This is for them.
absolutely, absolutely. Amar, what we can do is if we can have WhatsApp on mute ना, तो वो part थोड़ा because क्या होगा वो बीच में टिंग 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 आते जाएगा.
इसकी ऐसी की तैसी रुक यार तो अभी देख बंद हो गया व्हाट्सएप चल
चलो. Okay, so diving more into that, how was your bond with the people? मतलब क्या आप लोग, I think it was 2-3 nights. How was your bond like off the screen? कैसा था? कुछ chill था? Because
my
I've heard
bond
good stories. Yeah.
my bond on the screen off the screen was amazing because normally I'm quite an easygoing guy. I don't take anything too hard, and whatever happens in the moment is part of the show. Off the camera, they were partying. I was working out in the gym, and they kept coming and waving to me and join us. But I was just like focused on my exercise at them. But I have to say, each one of them is really, really nice. I didn't have any kind of feeling that, why is this contestant here? This person doesn't belong here. We had three female contestants. The rest of them, of course, were men, boys. We had a nice combination of veterans, like experienced poker players. We had a nice combination of people who've just begun. We had a couple of people who are pretty well known in the poker circuit. I thought it was a really good collection of contestants,
Yeah,
and
pretty diverse.
it gave me a very nice, wholesome feeling. I got to learn a lot, honestly, what they were doing on the table. Everything that's off the table is Rannvijay and my domain.
Got it.
We are reality show guys, but everything that was happening on the table, why a person is playing a certain way, who is going up against who, because in even on a table of 8 to 9 people, you normally have your eyes set on one or two players, right?
Sure.
The ones that you think you need to defeat. So I like those little rivalries that were happening between them. Very understated, not obvious, but I got to notice it because I was just monitoring the tables a lot.
Perfecto. ठीक है. Favorite story, of course, एक राहुल की story आई है बाहर, which was everyone really liked it, and of course there's a good vibe to it, and I know Rahul personally also because he's on our community. But beyond that, what are the other, like, secret stories that are of Playerhunt? If you can share anything, कि क्या था ऐसा कि यार ये story बहुत मजा आई, इससे बात करके अच्छा लगा, something like that.
I
If there's
think
anything.
I think apart from, of course, Rahul, because we saw what happened there, another player that really made an impact was Avni.
Okay.
Avni is such a ball of energy. She comes with so much enthusiasm, energy, and people, I think, were taking her lightly because they thought she's more of a media personality, more
Sure.
of a musician. But when she started playing, she really took down some big guns. So I really liked watching Avni play, sorry. And of course, interacting with Bobby Suri was great.
Okay.
He's such a legend in the game, in the sport, very well known all across. Pooja, Netri, Anshu. Anshu was actually very, very cool. I mean, Anshu looks like this sweet little guy, very understated. But when he starts talking and he opens up, he's got a lot of fantastic stories, man.
Okay. Okay. ठीक है. सही है.
But my
Ranvijay.
moment, if you had to pick a moment, my favorite moment was dunking them in the swimming pool. Maza aa gaya.
अच्छा. Okay, सही है. Okay, let's go to you guys watching them play poker. And Rannvijay was also seen a lot of in the show episode. I saw Rannvijay was at the tables only. ऐसा आप लोग को हुआ कि चल यार जाके बैठ के खेल लेते हैं यार? Because poker is such a thing कि बैठ के खेलने का मन हो जाता है. Did you guys do that?
बहुत फोमो हो रहा था यार, सीरियसली बहुत
हाँ
हो
हाँ
रहा था, बिकॉज हम लोग ने उनको ब्रीफिंग दी कि नाउ ओके योर टाइम स्टार्ट्स नाउ.
हाँ.
And then Ranvijay and I are not part of the action, and we are not those guys who like to sit on the bench, right? If you
Correct.
see the way we are, be it any sport, be it any competition, we are slightly, we are very competitive in a
True.
very positive, healthy manner. But just standing there and watching them,
It's the worst thing in poker. हाँ.
both of us actually contemplated. We told Nitin and Gaurav कि यार हम अपना एक टेबल क्यों नहीं लगा लेते,
हाँ.
producers and hosts वाला एक टेबल हो जाए. But of course we had to focus on the shooting aspect. But Rannvijay and I genuinely had a lot of FOMO. It's
Got it. परफेक्ट. आई होप द ऑडियंस ऑल्सो को यही फोमो आए पूरा देख के कि यार मुझे भी वो एसेस हाथ में चाहिए, उसका फीलिंग क्या होता है. दे शुड नो दैट. ठीक है.
exactly.
Who was your personal favorite contestant? So no diplomatic answer. I don't want 3-4 usernames. एक बंदा कि यार ये बंदा मस्त था यार, मजा आया. And doesn't have to be skills पे, पोकर पे नहीं, just generally overall कि ये बंदा सही था. ऐसा अगर हो तो.
I think I mentioned Anshu was one of them because I did not expect him to have this really interesting side to him, coming out singing, performing.
हाँ.
I like that a lot. Talent round में जब हमने उनसे बात की, two truths and a lie maybe. So Anshu was for me the dark horse, apart from of course Rahul and a couple of other. But Anshu was the one, man.
Got
Anshu.
it. Awesome. Working with Rannvijay, what is that like? Because that guy is like, how you worked on different shows with him before?
So between you and me, it has been at least 5-6 years that we work together.
Okay.
बहुत time
Okay.
हो गया. So we
Okay.
of course do a lot of things together when it comes to like social media campaigns or something like that, where they want Rannvijay +1, and obviously by default I am the +1 in
Got
everything
it.
that he does. Have the privilege of that. But working in a professional setup with him, I was wary of the fact that, everybody has come to watch him. There's no denying that, right? He is the main crowd puller. So there was a lot of contemplation on how do we introduce him on the show. And I thought we had a very nice way of getting him on the show where he was always watching like a,
The
like a
big
watchful
boss.
guardian, like Batman sitting on top of the city. He's
Ah,
looking at all the action, but he's not jumping in the middle right at the top, because that would then not hold any esteem. Because everywhere we go, every time you introduce Rannvijay, it's always like, and bringing the youth icon and the face of the this and the that and the that. We didn't do any of that. In fact, the way he entered the show was also one of my favorite creative beats of the show. And thanks to Nitin, Gaurav, Pranav, that they really thought of a new entry for him.
yeah,
Working with
absolutely.
him
Yeah.
personally on a one-on-one is always amazing. I'm always slightly nervous in a good way when we are on camera together, because I want to kind of prove that I also belong on that platform with him, because I love watching him. But when I have to stand and talk, and I think we've got a lot of experience from hosting a lot of wedding sangeets here.
Okay.
Funnily, funnily, like
Interesting.
मैं
Yeah.
बहुत सारे wedding संगीत में host करता हूँ, तो उसमें अक्सर रणविजय आ जाता है, और ये सारी दोस्तों की है, not for money.
Ah.
हमारे सारे दोस्तों ने ये बाय डिफॉल्ट समझ लिया है कि या तो रणविजय हमारी संगीत
Yeah.
होस्ट करेगा,
Okay.
पवन होस्ट करेगा. तो बाय डिफॉल्ट दैट्स द वन प्लेस वेयर वी ऑलवेज टुगेदर.
Got it. No, but just out of this thing, I think you were there, man. You were there. So I don't think so. Aisa kuch tha. And yeah, like you said, Rannvijay was the big boss kind of angle, where he's not there, but he's there and he's looking, like you said. So, sahi tha, yeah, 100%. Perfect. Uh, okay. If we have to discuss, if this show has to be on your major OTTs, it's got to come on, like, someday it's got to be either on like, hopefully season 5 is on Netflix, example, ye karna hai. You want to grab national eyeballs, you want to get huge sponsors. What is needed to be done? What do you think? कि क्या player hunt पे, what is the next step जो करना है? Sorry for putting
I
you in a spot there.
No, no, this is not a spot. So why I'm looking like this is because that's my primary business, right? I make and I work on web series. I write shows. I act in shows. So I'm actually trying to see ki what will it take. I think more than anything is we need to get crazy numbers. There's no other way, right? We have to show a proof of concept to all these big platforms that why you should invest in our show, because we've got an established face in Rannvijay, we've got a semi-established interesting guy in me. There are a couple of films that I'm going to be doing which will release next year. A lot of interesting projects on different platforms. So instead of Netflix, I would actually say, the whole foray is open. We've got Hotstar. I work a lot with Hotstar, Sony,
Sure.
Amazon. I think Amazon Mini could be a great platform because they're doing a lot of free to air content. So that we actually might just go to them. And it's not a big deal, honestly. I think if we show the numbers, we show the interest that's coming in terms of the entries. If there are like 5,000 people applying for the show next year, why not, man? I think they'll pick it up.
Awesome. So I think because that just takes everything to the next level further,
The
right?
marketing, see, the main thing is the
Chicken
marketing
egg.
spend goes 10x. Right
Correct.
now, we are also very fortunate to be on Rannvijay's channel. That's why we're getting a
Sure.
lot of eyeballs. He's got a good following on YouTube. Of course, his presence is felt all over the country, but he's got 4 lakh subscribers on YouTube, which is a big deal for a poker platform. If we
Absolutely.
started on our own, we would get, I think, 1/10 the views. So that was again a masterstroke. Thanks to Rannvijay, of course, thanks to the makers that they thought, yeah, this is the right place to portray the show.
सही बात है. The taboo associated with poker, like एक taboo कहीं ना कहीं है, and like how do you think is the show addressing this, and how do you think that can be addressed next time even more, like वो taboo कैसे करेंगे, more Rahul stories?
No, so everybody who has been hearing me talk about the show has already heard the story, but for our sake, I will repeat it. I have been involved as a player since 2007, right? So it's been 15 years that I have been playing poker. I was very apologetic. I was defensive till 5, 6 years back. I felt the need to over explain and tell people and tell them that this is what you
Skill,
have to
skill,
do.
skill. Yeah.
Skill, mind sport. But in 2022, I feel a lot more relaxed. I feel poker itself across the globe has changed so
Evolved.
many
Yeah,
people's
yeah.
lives. Even in India, I used to do profiles for another platform, and every time I went, I met people who have bought cars for their parents. I've met people who bought houses from their poker earnings. I've met a friend of mine who sponsored his younger brother's education and sent him to Australia through poker. So when
Sure.
I see all these stories, now I am at a comfortable spot where I say, if you don't think poker is a positive, has a positive impact on society, then you need to do the learning, you need to do the research, you need to do the thing. I am not going to defend it anymore because there is no need to defend it. It is actually
Perfect.
spreading joy and love all across.
Nice. That's a very good answer, man. Saida. Okay. Let's come to
Thank
Harman
you.
and
Thank you. तुमने क्या compliment है सही था अरे वाह मजा आ गया high five.
Okay. Let's go. What is your exposure to poker? You're saying 2007, and I've also heard you're a good player. And I jumped in on the Discord last night as well. So I
Yeah.
got a little bit tidbits that you stayed with poker players and they introduced you there. So yeah, but what is your exposure right now? Would you ever find would I ever find Harman saying, okay, tonight I'm playing on this platform and मैं रात को खेल रहा हूँ? Would you ever do that, or would you?
So I think only Nitin and Gaurav from Poker High know this because
हाँ
I have a secret ID on Poker High, and
हाँ
but that ID is not going to be revealed because every time I f up in I don't want everybody to know you guys play. And
ये
you know, so for me, it's a learning process. I believe that if you pick up any skill, right? Like for me, acting is a skill that I'm currently pursuing, or writing was the skill that I've been doing. It takes 5 to 7 years to master anything, right?
sure.
You have to do it day in and day out. You have to read a lot. You have to understand game theory. You have to understand so many things. You have to be actually good at
And
mathematics.
10,000 hours, 100%.
10,000 hours से भी ज्यादा लग जाते हैं मेरे को लगता है पोकर में सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है माइंड कोचिंग so I've spoken to world renowned mind coaches who are working with poker players and it gives you a lot of insight that it's such a mental game. Like for me, I used to always think golf is that game, right? Because my father plays golf, I play golf. But now the more I play poker, I think it teaches you a lot about life. It keeps your ego in check because
True.
your ego is always on the brink of exploding कि मैं इसको दिखा दूंगा. But as soon as you start playing like this in any sport, you will be losing. So to keep a calm head, to actually understand why you are doing this, why you're three betting, why are you raising, those whys are now interesting for me. So I would say I'm a student of the game.
So basically plan ये है कि once you're like good 40 45 and like अभी chill करने के लिए मैं वेगस में बैठूंगा शांति से tables पे and वहाँ पोकर खेलूंगा.
Plus, honestly, I'm being very candid. I want to have the kind of bankroll that even if I lose a little, I don't, like go back home and say, "माँ, मैंने सारे पैसे लुटा दिए."
हाँ.
थोड़ा
You
होना
seem
चाहिए
too
कि
level headed. You seem too this thing sorted to kind of get into that zone, to be honest. But
and I think I'll do well, man, in the tournaments and all. But there is a lot of learning to do. There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of practice. I want to be with a mind coach for sure. I want to play with the best of the best in India, and then get into it because I think poker is something I can play till I'm 60, 70, 80 even. Yeah.
exactly. So season 10 पे fix करते हैं. I'll host and आप contestant बन के आना.
Yes. Contestant. नाले contestant बनाना है मेरे को. हाँ जरूर जरूर आपकी प्रमोशन और हमारी डिमोशन ठीक है सर but I
Okay.
think you would make a great host, man. The way
Thank
you
you.
speak, the way you are, I've seen some of your videos. Why not?
Arey, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Okay,
पीछे बैठे हुए हैं हमारे प्रोड्यूसर.
let's move on to this thing. NBA, like I want to know Harman more so that by season 3, whoever is watching, matlab, they are reeling you also like that way with personal details. So coming to
Yes.
NBA and the weekly, the show is what you were doing, and I kind of had the chance of looking at it and stuff. And how is the affinity to NBA, and how did it happen, and what is your relation with NBA? How does that go?
My relation to the game of basketball is much deeper than you would imagine. My mother was a national basketball player. My father
Oh,
played at the highest level in the army. My elder brother Rannvijay played Delhi Nationals. I played junior nationals from Maharashtra. So we were that weird family that even when used to move a lot because father was in the army. So अगर नए घर में जाएंगे चाहे वो एक कमरे का घर भी हो या छोटा सा घर भी हो सबसे पहले एक लकड़ी से लगा के एक रिंग लग जाती थी वहां पे. Even though
got
we
it.
played cricket, volleyball, not so much football, but basketball has always been the sport in my family. So घर पे भी अगर कोई केले का छिलका ऐसे एक बार फेंक दे तो फिर वो गेम शुरू हो जाती है कि बार बार जाके अब मैं फेंकूंगा अब और दूर से. So we are those people who love the game. And for me, it's been the greatest joy to be affiliated with the NBA. Rannvijay used to do some work with them. Then I auditioned for them to be part of their television show. So I did live shows on TV for 2 years. Then in the pandemic, we decided to start a new property called the NBA India Weekly Show, which was shot completely from the house, like the Playerhunt season one. So now we feel like it's going another step. I got a chance to talk to some of the best, I mean, the biggest legends of the NBA one on one this time in Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
So with the NBA, I'm in utter disbelief, man. It's like if I meet some of the top poker players across the globe, how you'll be in awe of them, right? So
Sure, sure.
I'm just going through that experience currently. And new season is starting in a few days. I'll be doing a weekly show from the studio now, not from the house. So it'll look a lot better. And I think awareness of NBA and basketball is also increasing.
So absolutely, my next question is somewhere related to that only कि आपने दोनों ऐसे स्पॉट चुने हैं जो इंडिया में मैसिव नंबर्स नहीं है. So एक तो I want to take it a little personal on how you feel about it, and second, what do you feel कि actually yeah, let's stick to that कि पोकर ले लिया, NBA ले लिया, both are picking up in India, but it's not like cricket, right? So it's not attracting your 10 million views कि मैंने एक वीडियो बना दिया on something, it's going to attract a lot of views. So when you become a host or a commentator there, how do you feel about representing that? Of course it's good that अच्छा मैं कुछ नया कर रहा हूँ, but what is your personal thing कि यार इसको 5 million views कैसे होगा? If you feel like that, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah, one of the first shows I ever wrote and acted in was a show on artificial intelligence. I wrote it and I acted in it. It's called Aisha, My Virtual Girlfriend. I believe I was not somebody who grew up with the dream of being in the media, right? My father was in the army. I was in the merchant navy for 3 years. When my friends were in college, I was on a ship sailing. The fact that I'm here is a big deal for me. But it also gives me the confidence, especially when I look at Rannvijay, to roadies. Nobody would have expected it to become what it became, right?
Correct,
When he
correct.
started doing it, you have to be true to yourself. He was a biker before he became a roadie, right? He was an adventure guy before he started doing it professionally, and people thought, wow, Rannvijay can do all the action, all the stunts. He
Sure.
was that guy already. So I am somebody who loved poker. I'm just so happy that I can do something with poker. Wow. I don't even think of कि यार ये कितने बड़े प्लेटफॉर्म पे है कहाँ पे जाएगा बिकॉज वो कंट्रोल में नहीं है मेरे राइट so the other thing with NBA also, we played basketball all my life. The fact that I get to work with the NBA is enough. Even if 10 people watch it, where it will go and what will happen is genuinely your intention. If you do it well, I think 10 people extra will watch it. Now I've got a co-host in the NBA who's a very famous photographer. He's never hosted a show before, Rohan Shrestha, right? Everybody in Bollywood knows him as a photographer. Nobody knows him as a host.
Wow.
When you start attaching yourself to the things that you like, you actually get that sense of joy and pleasure. I would love to be a part of cricket, but I think there are so many thousands of people who are in cricket that what am I going to do differently? Right? So I'm that guy who would rather be a big fish in a small pond than be a small fish in a big pond. It's that simple for me.
Awesome, man. I hope आपकी कोई business ventures भी है because your clarity of thought is too good, man. मतलब it's really nice to get that going. ठीक है. What do you think makes it? Where do you think poker is going personally in India? Like, where do you see it? Like, चल यार अभी थोड़े में पहुंचेगा ये और होगा. Do you have a kind of a judgment when you sit with the
So
team also? Yeah.
I have a dream for poker, the player hunt with Poker High, and the dream is to go international. I want that the first time you see the teaser for season three, or maybe it's season four, depending on what we can achieve. You see the ultimate life of a poker star. That is the show. That is what the show was meant to be, right? That you see the glitz and the glamour, but also the responsibility that comes with giving back to your community. So my examples that I tell Nitin, I tell Gaurav sir, Pranav are always, we have to show them that you can become the LeBron James or you can become the Virat Kohli of poker. What it means is that you have to be a good citizen. You have to do good for your society, but you'll also live the best life. You'll go private jet. You'll drive the fastest cars. You will climb. You will go to the best state parks or national parks in the world. You will go deep sea diving. That the doors open when you become rich and famous, right? So
Correct.
with poker and the player hunt, my idea is that eventually I want the contestant to see that yeah, season 3 or season 4 के trailer में that this is what you can achieve if you play
Absolutely.
poker at the highest level. That you will earn a cash prize or you will get probably $10 million eventually But that's a long way to go. But as long as we are looking there, my dad used to say that if you aim for the sky, you'll at least reach the top of the tree. So
Not the stars, acha.
yeah, if you
Okay.
aim for the sky, he's a realistic person, right? So he's like, if you aim for the sky, you'll at least reach the top of the tree. So we were trying to see where the top of our tree is right now.
Perfect. So I am so this thing I was talking to Nitin before the podcast also, and मेरा यही था कि aspirational angle जब है तब आपका वो आएगा. So this brings in the aspirational piece
Yeah,
completely.
I want to show that the lives of the rich and famous, like Lionel Messi की life देख लो, Cristiano Ronaldo की life देख लो, LeBron James की life देख लो, विराट कोहली की life देख लो.
जी.
उनकी life में ना एक तो बहुत सारा मजे है when they're off the court or off the pitch or off the field.
Sure.
But there's a lot of social responsibility.
Absolutely.
People look at them as role models. So we want to find those role models in the Indian poker scene that become the next Virat or the LeBron who can live the best life, hang out, dine with the presidents and prime ministers of different countries, be global ambassadors, be United Nation ambassadors, but at the same time, live a great life.
Sweet. Nice. I like that. Okay. Coming to, yeah, like you spoke of roadies, right? It became a rage, and uski andar wohi tha, right? There were guys, there were girls, there were fights, there was drama, there were judges who really killed it, and then there was a prize of this thing, and there was Raghu who was a gangster there. So, what do you think makes a great reality show? Is it this entire piece?
I think I always looked at it differently because I used to work. By my first 3 years in the media were behind the camera as a assistant director. Then I was a DA to director's assistant on MasterChef India. Then I became a creative director on MasterChef India. I did roadies for a season as an assistant director under Raghu. The things that we enjoyed were mostly seeing people go from point A. First day पे जब एक contestant आता है, they come up with all these things in their head. They think they know who they are. But the revelation of who they actually are, that is what a reality show actually, I mean, that is the engaging part of a reality show. Big Boss देख लो.
जी.
पहले दिन पे लोग आते हैं. By the end of 3 months, जो भी उनके अंदर सच्चाई है, चाहे
सब आ
अच्छा,
जाएगी.
चाहे वो बहुत भले इंसान है, चाहे वो बहुत भद्दे इंसान है, वो ना जो असलियत है ना आपकी, जो एट द कोर जो आप हो, वो छुपता नहीं है कैमरा के ऊपर. And that's what I really enjoy. So on the next season of Player Hunt, what I want to see is a longer journey for the contestants.
Sure.
Right now, it's concised into like a very short, you know, like a very quick trip. I want it to be stretched out a little longer where I get to see the changes in them. It's the same thing for great stories when we watch films and everything. Is the revelation of who your true self is. It's the revelation of character. That's what makes a reality show great. Even till today, when I think of Indian Idol, I think of the Raju painter from Ludhiana.
Sure.
When I think of roadies, I actually don't think of Raghu Rajiv because I was close to them, I was friends with them. I think of Bani J's journey. I think of Ayushman Khurrana, where he started from, who he is today, right? Look at
Yeah.
Ayushman.
Yeah.
So for me, it's interesting to see, यार हरमन ने यहाँ पे शुरू किया था और आज मतलब कहीं और ही पहुंच गया.
Yeah.
It
I think
reveals who you are.
all these stories, you're absolutely right. Yeah, 100%. So, okay, last two questions for this thing. I have one is, how do you think we get so poker of the Indian poker scene has these really good legends, right? Aditya Sushant is there, Abhinav Iyer, and maybe one season if it's happening with these guys, how do you think we bring in these people? How do we attract these people to actually be a part of the show? Is that
But
a part of?
you tell me what is the need for these guys to come on our show? I'm asking you.
Okay. No.
Tell me why would an Aditya want to be on the Player Hunt?
Because it is going to be really that big, right? I mean, so again, there are two ways of getting these people. One is that they come, but then what you do is only get the current poker audience interested, because beyond the poker circuit, again, it is not that people would know who an Aditya Sushant is, but you will capture real lives of a poker player. Is the reason why I would want to take it to the with the masses, saying कि real में वो 2 घंटा आज पढ़ाई कर रहा था, मतलब पेरेंट्स को पता चलेगा कि भाई पढ़ाई हो रही थी, दो चारों लोग मिलकर डिस्कस कर रहे थे. So and what is the so what are the barriers of getting them? Do you all think this? Why don't we bring in an Abhinav Iyer who's India's WSOP bracelet? Because when he comes on and when a contestant starts and you're showing him and you show him winning a
Yes, I'll give you a comparison. If I if I bring in the world champion of CrossFit Games to roadies,
Uh,
do you think he'll actually add or subtract? Like, I honestly think if these guys go through the process, because I can't differentiate between them because they're famous and they're legends. I genuinely think if they come through the process, they can be a part of the show. But none of us are dying for their attention. We actually want the local kid who's hiding the fact that he's playing poker from
समझ
his
गया.
parents to come here. But at the same time, legends have their own space. I think when the show becomes so mainstream that you feel the need that, this season is going to be legends versus amateurs,
Okay, okay.
that could be a great thing because roadies पे अगर आप इस season देखो, it is ex roadies versus new roadies. Those things work. Even on Big Boss, you had famous people with common people,
Sure, I
right? It
understand.
adds value, but right now I think we are in the first stage where we are playing Ranji and you are talking about IPL or international cricket.
समझा. Got
हाँ,
it,
तो
got it.
हम अभी फर्स्ट क्लास क्रिकेट में पहले इतना अच्छा सेटअप बना ले कि यार पीपल शुड फील गुड टू कम टू प्ले रणजी. So the
I
player
understand.
hunt right now, they should come and excited. They should come excited. We want 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 entries for player hunt. These guys, when they start coming, of course, the game becomes much bigger. There's no denying it. Their involvement in our show will only add value to their lives also. They'll get more popular and it'll add value to us also.
100%.
But
Got it.
right now, I think it's the step by step dying. Season 5, where we might do legends versus amateurs.
Perfect. No, thank you. And the last question is so the last question that I have is we are talking about poker, and you spoke in the start that you've got people who have funded education of their family and people who have cases like Rahul who've actually contributed to the family, which is really moving. There are also cases if you're on a WhatsApp, Facebook group, where so many times you see that things are going wrong and it's completely their fault because as a promoter of poker also I also face this internal question many times where people make some certain mistakes and then they're losing maybe
Yeah.
at that stage if they lose 20,000 it's a lot for them so
Yeah.
kaise react how do you feel personally about the fact that acha because there is a plus and minus it's a zero like it's like you can lose also what happens to you there do you
I
think
think
about that
I think following your passion in a sport, it comes with an uncertainty, right?
mm-hmm.
In cricket, even in basketball, there are some people that you believe can be the best, but they get injured and they're out for the season.
Yeah,
There are some people in Australian cricket who were caught cheating. They were at the top of their game.
sure
So a lot of people have to make mistakes. You have to go through failure. You have to go through your downtime because that's what makes the victory that much sweeter. And you'll find out who the true player is, right? If you lose all your family's money in a poker game and that destroys your family and that destroys who you are as a person, then you were not really ever into the sport for the right reason,
sure
right? So there's a difference between people who come to a sport, even in IPL, if you see. If you've come to IPL to play cricket, you might do well. But if you've come to IPL to make money, I think eventually it will catch up to you, right? Because your agenda is not to be great at the sport. Your agenda is to be rich and famous. So if you're chasing fame, if you're chasing money, unfortunately catches up to you. But if you just want to get better at it, and if you have sheer joy of playing poker, of playing cricket, of playing basketball, and it cannot get defeated by any victory or any defeat. You got to be a stoic. Don't be too happy when you're succeeding. Don't be too sad when you're failing. If you can reach that, that is the ultimate
then
athlete, right? So people who have lost their households, I feel bad for them, but I don't empathize so much with people because then if your real passion was playing poker, you would still find a way to bounce back.
sure okay wow that's a very
Was that
different
was
take
that relevant or did I go off topic? Is that what you were
no,
trying to?
no, yeah, that is exactly what I wanted to say, and the same thing that even I kind of feel personally, कि हाँ मतलब somewhere it's your call also आपको समझना है और आपको उसके हिसाब से bounce back करना है कि आप कैसे खेल सकते हो.
Because sports, like music, like everything, there is no assurance where you'll reach in life, right? Even
Correct,
acting. कोई guarantee नहीं है. Nobody
correct,
owes you a free meal. Nobody owes you a great role in
absolutely,
a big film. Nobody owes you, right? You're individual. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your loved ones. You will fail. If you succeed, great. But if you fail, live with the fact that you tried.
right, absolutely.
Never blame the sport. If somebody blames poker for their loss, then I feel bad.
Wow, that was a good take. Perfect, Harman. Thank you so much. I think we've got very nice details out today, and it was very nice discussing the entire thing. I think podcast 2, 3, 4, 5 भी होगा sometime soon. And
हम
thank you
करते
so
रहेंगे,
much.
हम
हाँ,
करते रहेंगे तो जब बोलेगा मैं आ जाऊंगा.
अच्छा ठीक है. Done. Thank you so much, Harman. Thank you so much for taking time out. Thank you, man.
Super, man. And I just want to take 1 minute before we go, just to say that the passion that you have, not only as a player, but as somebody who's promoting the sport, is really admirable. And I'm not just saying this because it takes a lot of, like, you're doing it not for money, right? You're doing it because you're in it for the right reasons. And when we meet people like you, I think it gives the confidence for us. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's not stop. Whether it's tough, whether it's uh, like economy is down all over the world. Everywhere economy is down. We are expecting a huge recession.
Correct.
In this time, we have to stick together.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, boss. Thank you. Thank you,
Cheers, brother.
guys. Thank you. Thank you.